friends, it's your favorite neighborhood nerd, Simone. I'm here today to share my pen pal setup. First disclaimer, I am not a very good pen pal. So this is not me showing you how to be very productive on pen paling. This is just what works for me and or helps me be a tiny bit better than being the worst pen pal ever. So let's start. When I receive mail from friends, I have this box here and I made 2 dividers with empty stiff cardboard envelopes that I labeled letters and postcards. And this is not the incoming letter goes here, the incoming postcard goes here. This is the letters that I would like to respond via response letter. And this is where the letters go that I would like to respond via postcard. The reason why I'm making this distinction is because I love writing letters, but as I said earlier, I am not a good pen pal, and sometimes a postcard is better than nothing. And so I decide from the get-go, is this person getting a postcard from me or a letter? Am I taking the time to write 75 pages? Goes here. Am I going to send them a sign of life? Goes here. And this way, all the letters are stacked chronologically, and I'll take out the first one. This is the one that I'm replying to right now. Then I also have this binder here. I purchased this, I think, at Cute Things from Japan. And what I put in here is stuff that I do not necessarily use for journaling anymore, but that I would like to either gift to friends or use to decorate my letter papers. These are things that I love, but that I haven't had the best luck using in my journals for one reason or another. And they're too precious to keep hidden away. And so what I would like to do is either use them to decorate or just use them to send when I send out mail. Maybe I can include one of those into the letter. Now this is the binder, and I'm going to talk about this later on. For a second, I tried this as a log. Seems to have failed. Maybe I'll go back. We'll talk about this. But this is where I keep all the things that I want to do or that I'm writing. This is a Hobonichi cover. I previously, before I moved into here, I used this Galen leather A5 cover. I used this for a while for my journal, but it just didn't work well enough for me. And then I used this as my letter writing hub, but that also just isn't the perfect use. And the reason why it doesn't work well for me is because I am scraping my arm on the zipper and it feels super uncomfortable. It feels like it's going to get sore. And so I moved out of this into here. But this would be totally ideal if the zipper wasn't this unhappy thing on my arm. I'm closing this cover. Oh, the reason why you don't see the pen loops that are usually attached to Hobonichi covers is because I actually removed them. And I'm closing them with these elastics. These were from my sewing stash. I just cut them to size and tie a knot, and then I tried to seal them with a heat And that's where I keep all the things. So I have several loose items in here. I have this paper pad that looks a little rowdy, which is super sad, but I'm making do. I have a clip here with some postcards clipped on. I'm not going to turn them around, but these are actually already addressed and there is a postage stamp on there. The reason why I do this is because addressing letters and postcards seems to be a barrier of entry for me. And so by taking the time to address several postcards at a time, I'm making sure that I'm sending postcards. And the idea for sending postcards I got from my friend Brandy. She posted something about sending postcards in the spring of 2025. This is September of 2025. And it just reached me at the right time. And sending someone a sign of life and making them just sending a little something into their mailbox, I feel is more important than sending a whole novel of letter. And sometimes I just don't have a lot to say either, or I don't have the time to say a lot. And so I feel like, hey, I haven't forgotten about you. I'm thinking about you, or this postcard reminded me of you, or here is something that I did yesterday. It changed the way that I send out letters and the expectation that I have of myself. And so if you haven't sent postcards in a while, I highly recommend. It takes a lot of pressure of sending mail to people off your back. Maybe this is just me, but I have a lot of people that I would love to send mail to. I have a Discord server where there's lots of lovely people on that I would love to, hey, here's a sign of life. Look at this postcard. It made me think of you. Or not necessarily postcard, but a lot of things that I would like to just, reach out, send them a, hey, I'm thinking of you, sign of life. And also maybe because of YouTube, I have had a lot of people send me stuff. And this sending letters to people is super overwhelming, right? Not right now, but in general, I feel like I'm corresponding with so many people that I would love to kind of distinguish them into letter people and postcard people. And so postcards are less intimidating. I can reach more people if I'm sending postcards, if that makes sense. And then I have stuff in here that I would like to use or kind of get rid of. This I stuck on a postcard recently. I'd love to put this on envelopes. Here's a sticker that I would like to pass along. I often stick things in here that I have had in my Ephemera stash for a while that I haven't found a good use to use myself. And so I'm just sticking it in here so I can include it in the next mail. And then I have paper clips down here in order to clip the lined sheet of paper behind my writing paper. I do have 2 address books actually. This one was from a Nolte efficiency, and I just started using it, but it's really scrambled up. There's people that I don't correspond with in here anymore. And so I recently started one of those Hobonichi week size notebooks. I stuck in alphabet stickers, and I'm using 1 page for each letter to write people's names and addresses in alphabetical order. And this is, at some point, this is going to be retired, and then this is the one that I'll use. So that is right here and accessible. Because maybe I'll read the letter and then it takes me a week to address the envelope and put on the stamp because everything is scattered everywhere. So trying to keep it all in one place is really big and essential for me. One of my pen pals is sending letters in these amazing no, that's not the right word, folders. She makes them herself and I love them, but I feel it's kind of criminal to keep them all to myself. And so what I often do is I receive the letter, I look at it, I love on it, and then I put it in here so that the next time I send out a letter to a friend, I will take this and put my letter, my happy mail in here. And then I'll attach a sticky note and say that this was made by this friend and I'm just passing along the joy of this thing. I love doing this. I know that not everyone feels the same way. This is how I do things. And then I have certain different papers that I would want to use in Happy Mail. I love making them kind of mixed media style. So maybe I'll start writing my letter on this piece of paper and then I'm putting, maybe I'll put a currently list on here where I write. Sometimes I need prompts because I forget what I want to write about, like what I'm currently reading, the last movie I watched, the next book I want to read. And I put this on here, and then this is another piece that is included in the letter. So funky papers go in this as well. And there's more funky papers here, but this is where the postcards are clipped to so they don't fall out. This is this side. And then I have a whole pile of stuff in here. Sometimes, and I've just recently talked about 10 minutes of joy. I just love doing something creative in the morning before I leave for work. And so I might decide to decorate some letter writing paper. This is the paper that I'm using. And unfortunately, this has completely fallen apart and I'm very sad about it. But this is the Yamamoto paper A5 Sanzen Tomoe River S writing pad. I purchased this at the San Francisco Pen Show in 2024. And I purchased an old Tomoe River pad and a new one. 200 pages is a lot of paper. Unfortunately, this is the glue binding. It has completely fallen apart, which is a little sad because it would be nice if this was still attached like that, because then I could write on here. So that it doesn't fall apart, I am usually just clipping this notepad to the backing here with this binder clip. But this is not really usable for writing. And especially because I am also decorating the paper and multiple papers at the same time, they're loose in here anyway. But it's a good stabilizer for this thing, because then I can take my paper out here. I'll clip it to my writing board with paper clips, and then I can use this as a bottom layer to write. Here I played with my pilot parallels and fountain pens and made flowers and stuff. But as I said, I also love making just inky drops, splatters. I like using washi tape to decorate the pages. There is no rule, hard and fast rule, how I'm decorating my papers. I just love doing it. I prefer decorating the papers myself, using paper that I love writing on, than buying pre-decorated letter sets. I have a ton of those that are not fountain pen friendly, because writing letters is one way that I enjoy using fountain pens. Now, I'm not as prolific as my friend Jane from JP Pen and Inks is. I think she is like the pen pal on the pedestal. I would love to be more like her, but I just am not. And so if I can send a letter to a pen pal every other week, that's really great for me. But that also just shows if there is 52 weeks a year, it's only 26. Is that true? 26 letters that I can send out, like without putting a ton of pressure on myself, that I can actively send out. And that is limiting the amount of pen pals, writing pen pals that I can have. And I'm really trying to, it sounds really negative if I say that, pare down, and I would rather correspond with a handful of friends multiple times a year than the way that it is happening right now, that I'm basically sending a letter a year. That just feels so unsatisfying to me. Then this is an A5 Midori. I need to check because I also have envelopes in here that have addresses on them. So I need to check. Midori with multiple sections. These are super cool. There's 1, 2, 3 different compartments that you can put in here. I love those. I think I need to get some more of those. I gave one away. These are really affordable. I bought mine from Vanessa Pens. And then I have different types of stamps in here that I need in order to put the correct postage on postcards, but also in order to make international, or if my letter is too fat. I do have a sheet of international stamps, but they're never as pretty as the other. So I'd rather just, put on, I use these if my surface of sticking down the stamp is super small, then I use these. But if I have enough room on my envelope to put together the amount that I need for international postage with these different stamps, then I'd rather do that. And then I have, so these are specialty stamps, postcard, additional ounce, additional 40s, something. And then these are the regular letter stamps here. And I have a lot of those here, as you can see. But this is where I keep all of my stamps. And so I know when I run out that I need to reorder more. Having this like this together like this is super helpful because I don't have to go in various different places. Again, I'm going to mention Jane. What I learned from her is that she addresses an envelope the second the letter arrives at her house. Now, her frequency of letter writing is definitely her turnaround is much quicker. So I've deviated from that idea, but I think if I could get back to that, it would be amazing. I could just take the letter that my pen pal sent. I already have the envelope that I need in order to send out the letter attached to it, completely addressed. I love decorating my envelope, so that could be a thing that I could do in a 10 minutes of joy session. And then the only thing I need to do is write. So there is letters. This is a thing that Jane included. I just recently responded to a letter from her, so that's why this is still in here. I like having this as a pencil board. And then this is a sticker that I want to send to my daughter with, I love, okay, this is also not an address. I love sending out these letters that I did not write. I received them in my extravagant hope mailers from my friend Brandy Kincaid, and I love reading through them. I usually find something that speaks to me. I often copy that into my quotes journal, and then this letter is basically has done its job. And I love sharing these letters with my pen pals because I feel like maybe I also love underlining what I find important. And then maybe when they read it, they see something completely different. Brandy is an amazing writer, and what she says is it's often the obvious, the things that we already know, but that we need to be reminded of more and more because it's just so important to make sure we remember. So, and I want to send her this because I read this, I felt spoken to, and I felt like this is something that she needs to hear. So I already prepped this. Already put her name on the back. Often when I find stickers and stuff, I take Post-it notes, put the pen pal, the friend's name on the back, and then put it in here so that next time I send a letter to them, I can include it. And then I also added here all the letters or cards. Sometimes it's just like notes, from friends that I have received that I would like that. The postcards that are here, these are here so I remember what they said. So if there is a question that they asked, maybe I can respond to that in that card. And then I just accidentally put 2 letters here. The letter that I'm actively responding to is in here as well, so I can refer to it when I'm writing. And then this is something that my friend Amy made. She packaged something in here, I think. And I love this. And so I thought maybe I can put one of my, this is one of those fun papers that I like to include and make my letters more mixed media. And then here's my paper pad. And there's that. That is all that I have in here. And when I often sit downstairs on the couch in front of the TV, watching YouTube while writing letters and postcards. And so I can grab this, and I know that I have the paper that I need to write, some ephemera to decorate my pages. This could even be here. And if I take my pen pouch with my fountain pens with me, this is what I need in order to write a letter. I can take this with me wherever. Now, especially with those friends that I'm sending stuff to, I would love to keep track of what exactly am I sending them. And so I have those Campus B5 size binders. They're super narrow, and they came in a pack of 3. I started using this as a fountain pen lock, but quickly found that they're too tiny. So now I have them left over, and I'm looking for ways that I can make them usable, or I can use them. And I thought of an idea that I had. Maybe I can use Amy as an example. So the problem is with this is, what if I think we're pen pals and I'm sending them a letter and I never get a response, then I've wasted a little bit of paper. And I've also, sending the letter is one thing, but then also logging what I'm sending, I wish I were that organized. That's kind of the organization level that I'm not at yet. Maybe if I'm not overwhelming myself with too much stuff, then I'm able to do this. But I haven't done this probably since the end of May. So let me show you. Oh no, June 15th. So, when I receive, I made basically 2 columns. I write my friend's name up here, in and out, and then I use a date stamp. I don't need to use a date stamp, I can just write it. If that is the barrier that I need to cross and I don't write it down because I don't use the date stamp, then I'd rather not use it. But I write what I'm sending, a letter, and then I'm writing what I'm including, specifically when I know when, like the stuff that I wanted to send them. Like, okay, I was able to send both of these. This is what I got. I still need to respond. So I haven't. So this is basically, could be a cool timeline. I like the idea of this. I haven't been able to follow through completely. But would be cool if I could. Just as an inspiration, if you're more organized, if you follow through with your ideas, this could be one. And especially because it's so big, there's a lot of space so that you can actually do the timeline thing for in and out. But yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say to that. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you again in another video. Until next time, bye.